Welcome to Trust Your Inner Sense with Joanne Starkman podcast. I'm Joanne Starkman, and I look forward to going on this collaborative journey with you to ignite inspiration, inspire self-discovery, and instill new meaning in life. I'm excited to host a wonderful array of guests, including innovators, creatives, expert coaches, teachers, and much, much more who come together to share their stories. Each episode reveals how they've embraced their inner sense to pursue their passions and shine their unique lights in the world. We'll have thought-provoking discussions and chat about tools that will provide fresh perspectives to help you create a joyful and meaningful life. As founder and chief visionary officer of award-winning hair care brand Inner Sense Organic Beauty, I am also an avid meditator, platform artist, author, and mother of a special needs young adult. Over 20 years ago, I intentionally brought mindfulness to morning routines by authoring each affirmation on Inner Sense Organic Beauty's products, which we call Innerflections. You can check them out on the back of the bottle. It's my goal to have this podcast to be your warm and compassionate companion, whether you're on a journey for deeper meaning, seeking greater joy, or in need of love and healing. Let's continue our journey of self-discovery, self-care, and self-love. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive into this week's Trust Your Inner Sense episode now. Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today. This conversation is going to be so heartfelt and so warm and fuzzy and incredible. And I know it's going to inspire you. This is somebody that you have to know. Well, I guess I'll just say her name. I'm so excited to bring on Renata Helfman. She is the founder of Lipstick Angels, and this is an incredible nonprofit organization that does so much good in the world, and you have to know about them. And so I'm so excited to interview Renata and welcome, Renata. Thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to have you today and welcome.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure and my honor to be here today. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, we had the great pleasure of finally visiting your offices down in Los Angeles, and that was so inspirational. You have such a beautiful space. And we kind of had a long conversation. I felt like wished I had my microphone there because I felt like I got like all the downloads. So I know this is maybe going to feel like a repeat to you. I'm sure you tell your story often, but I would love you to go through, introduce yourself and then tell everybody exactly what Lipstick Angels is. And yeah, we'll just start there because there's so much to dig into.
Perfect. So my name is Renata Helfman, and I started Lipstick Angels about over a decade ago. The shorter version of a very long story is I really felt there was a gap and a great need for support for cancer patients in the beauty and wellness space.
You started out as a makeup artist, right?
I started out as a makeup artist, and I was my grandmother's caregiver, one of her caregivers as she was going through cancer. And this is before Lipstick Angels ever started, but it became very apparent to me that me being by her side with my skill set was really needed and helpful and appreciated. And later in life, as my career was undergo, and I had a wonderful career, but I definitely felt something was missing in my life, and I felt emptiness in my heart that I really I was kind of in search of, so to speak. And when I went looking for opportunities, I wasn't like, nothing was really grabbing me. And then all of a sudden I thought, wait, why don't I do what I did for my grandma? And I went walking into one of the biggest hospitals in the country, which was down the street from me, Cedars-Sinai. And back then there was no Instagram. Maybe there was Facebook. I don't even know. But I went in with my portfolio, of models and my resume. And I said, I went to the volunteer office and I said, I want to join whatever program you have for, X, Y, and Z. And they said, we don't have a program. And so really it was like, I was completely dumbfounded. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have, who's helping? Like, who's doing it? And they're like, we don't have anyone doing it. Do you want to do it? Basically, I was like taking my kit off the set of Friends, like if I was day playing on a TV show, and I was going to the hospital and I was just like doing makeup on cancer patients. And I really just fell in love with it. My heart was so full and they were so appreciative. And that was kind of how, and it wasn't called anything. It was just Renata with her kit. But those were the early stages of the idea.
Yes. And so then at that point, then how do you feel like, I mean, I would imagine your view of beauty kind of transformed a little bit like that. I mean, that
Yes.
probably changed a lot for you in,
Absolutely.
going from your day job to, volunteering. Yeah. What was that like for you?
It's interesting. I mean, for me, I was always the kind of artist that really, the most special time for me was like in the trailer, like with my client, like that one-on-one, very intimate time. Like all the other stuff never really mattered to me. Some people like to be on set and in Hollywood. And like, I if I could have walked away right after doing an actress's makeup and went home, I would have been thrilled. So I guess I kind of translated to my love for working with the patients because it was so intimate. It was just what I needed. It was just like the empath in me needed that space. And with the work you do, Joanne, it's about seeing someone and what they need, whether it's their hair or their makeup, but kind of breaking down the barriers. And whether you have cancer or if you don't, I think when you're in someone's zone and you're touching them, it's such an intimate thing. And being able to connect with that person is just so necessary. And it really translated so magnificently into my new career.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, and it's come a long, long way since then. Now you have, can you talk a little bit more about like where it's at today and like
Absolutely.
the organization that, that I get to participate
Yes.
in? And
So after I kind of got my feet wet volunteering, I had a lunch with a friend of mine who was in the nonprofit space. And just so you know, I didn't even know what a nonprofit was. Like I had no idea about any of that. We went to lunch and she's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I've been volunteering. And I told her the whole story. She goes, that's amazing. Do you like it? And I said, I love it. Like if I could do this every day and never see another movie set again, I would be thrilled. And so I kind of told her the reaction from the hospital and from the patients. And she encouraged me. She said, if you're very serious about that, I think this could be a non-for-profit. And if you like it, other artists would be attracted to it. And how do you feel about dipping your toe in that water? And I will help you. And I was like, absolutely. And I really am self-taught. I'm a self-taught CEO. I worked day job on the movie sets, and at night I created this company, and one hospital at a time, one employee at a time. And now we're in about almost 15 hospitals and cancer centers across the country with many, many programs, and at the most renowned cancer centers like Stanford and UCSF and the City of Hope and New York Presbyterian. And really, it's an ever learning, ever growing process. But we're about 12 years in now of the last time, of Lipstick Angels. And it's just amazing.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's so exciting to, even from the first time that I met you, how much you've grown even since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And so tell people like exactly what that looks like, because I loved seeing your menu of services and like what that actually is for somebody that is interacting with, that's receiving the service.
Yeah. So we're boots on the ground inside infusion centers and hospitals. So where people go and actually get hooked up to their chemotherapy, They're there sometimes up to 8 or 9 hours a day, just getting chemotherapy. I really wanted to be in that space because I knew from what I had witnessed how vulnerable that is and how scary that is and how much in that space you need this beautiful distraction as well as, everything else we provide. So what it looks like is we kind of roll in with this beautiful beauty cart. Everything on there is organic, clean, very well thought out. And the menu of services is very diverse. Everything from, of course, makeup, addressing all of the things that a cancer patient goes through when they're in treatment, like losing their hair, losing their eyebrows, being able to treat the scalp, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Being able to give someone a pair of stencils, eyebrow stencils, pencils, do a full facial. We are very much grounded in wellness. So aromatherapy, meditation, breathing, healing stones, massage. It's kind of like this.
It's a full spa
It's a
experience.
full spa.
Yeah.
And it's up to the patient to look at it and take what they want.
That's wonderful.
Not everyone wants, some people go through this, Joanne, and I kind of, this is like when, and I'm sure this is one of the questions you'll ask me, but as like the years go on, we learn so much more, not everyone wants to, they're like, my eyebrows are gone. They're going to come back. I'm good.
Right.
But my hands are hurting and my skin is dry. And so really just like, there's no shame in any of it. Like there's no covering up cancer. We're not here to like, go, okay, well, let's make you look normal again. Like you're beautiful, you're normal. However you want to go through this, we're here to meet you and give you all of these options and just be part of your care team.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I mean, really, Lipstick Angels brings so much dignity, confidence, and really joy to people facing really difficult situations. Like, how do you train your team? Like, how could you tell me a little bit about, like, do you have people that come in that don't have any experience, like your staff or your volunteers, or like, how could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, everyone who works in the hospitals has to be a licensed esthetician and or makeup artist. So that's the number one criteria. And how we onboard new employees is they train at another hospital. That's the best way to do it. I mean, we could talk all day here about what it feels like to work with a cancer patient and what are the signs. So besides our actual literature and all the training manuals that we have, the best way to do this is to have them be literally boots on the ground with another manager and train that way. And we do that not only with our staff, but with our volunteers as well.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, many people want to give back, but they don't know where to start. What advice would you give someone, that has the heart to serve, but maybe just hasn't stepped into it yet, whether it be with Lipstick Angels or any place? I mean, like that's kind of like thinking back where you were at that point. And I think what I heard from you too was it was like you were almost following a calling or something like that. Like you got to have that experience with your grandmother and you felt really called in some way. But
yeah, that's so accurate. I never thought of it that way. I guess the advice I would give someone is like what brings you joy? Like what meaning like if you're good at something, whether it be art or whether it be exercise, like whatever brings you joy, it will translate to, like, I have a friend who works, she loved doing yoga. She got certified and now she's teaching yoga to underserved children at schools. Like, and she's like, I just pivoted, So I think that's the best thing because it's just like anything else in life. Even exercise, for instance, if you don't like what you're doing, whether it be Pilates or walking, like you're not going to want to do it.
Right. Of course.
Find something that feeds your soul and then find a way to turn that into good.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So the name Lipstick Angels is so like perfect and appropriate. And I remember even the first time I saw, like heard it, I heard the name and it was like, I kind of had this specific image, maybe, kind of more, a little bit more about the cosmetic part, so I love hearing you talk about it because But how do you the name? Can you tell me a little bit more about the
Yeah.
name and like this? I love symbology, and I even love the story of your grandmother, which was so inspiring to me. Your grandmother sounds like such an inspiration
Oh,
to
she's always like
you.
right
And
here.
yeah,
She's always right here saying to me, put a little lipstick on, you know?
I love that.
Yeah, well, she was such a force. And growing up, she would be the one to say to me, comb your hair, put your lip,
Mhm.
like she liked to be very put together. So when cancer hit her hard,
Oh.
and she's a Holocaust survivor. I mean, she's a
Mm.
survivor. Like she was just, if you could survive that, you can survive almost anything,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So she really, she just was. And my mother was kind of hippy dippy. She didn't really wear makeup, but my grandma totally. And it was funny. So when I started Lipstick Angels, there was no name. I was just kind of putting
Mm.
all the pieces together. And I was on the phone with someone who was like donating lipsticks or something. And she said, well, what's the
Mm.
name of this thing? And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my God, I don't even have a name. And anyone who works for me, Keiko's here, she would say, anyone who works for me, they'll say, did you think about that in the shower? Because everything comes to me in the shower. Water.
I feel like it's the water. That's what I was going to say.
It's
Water is a
the
huge connectivity. My bathroom is almost like a portal for me. I feel like.
Totally.
Have
was
we
like,
talked about that before? I feel like we've talked
no,
about that
I
before.
don't know. Maybe we have, but it really is like, that's where my ideas come from. And sometimes I should keep like a board in my shower, because not like I think of everything in the shower. I thought of the name in the shower. I thought, of course, lipstick is like the overall arching symbolic,
Mhm.
put your lipstick on and then
Absolutely.
you can go into the world. And of course my grandmother. And angels is interesting because I swear to you, Lipstick Angels has angels. Like
Mhm.
I cannot take credit for the success of Lipstick Angels. I am the conduit. I am here and I work my ass off, so to speak.
Yeah.
But really, there's a force that's stronger and that's there. And whenever I get like nervous about financials or nervous about a program or something that feels big, if I could just sit down and be grounded and say, your angels are here, girl. Like
Mm.
just tap into that.
Mhm.
My blood pressure, like everything goes down. Like and I think everyone, like for me, it's the angels and Lipstick Angels. But I think that if we all tune into that place in ourselves of feeling cared for and positive, and that the greater good is with us,
Mhm.
it's a really good place to be,
Absolutely. It's palpable, Renata. I mean, definitely. I know I've gotten the opportunity to hang out with you a bit, and you definitely have angels around you, and you are an angel for
Oh, thank
sure.
you,
So,
Joanne.
yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Well, we talked a little bit. Well, I mean, one thing I want to say, I wanted to underline, I want people to know that you do serve men too.
Oh yeah.
We just totally talked about lipstick, and not that men couldn't or wouldn't wear lipstick, but
And have
I,
in our
and
programs.
but I
And
just
should.
wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that you service anybody that is going through infusions and
Everybody. And
yeah.
and also on the menu, I think during COVID we learned a lot because we
Mhm.
took everything virtual.
Mhm.
And now we have a virtual program and we have our hospital program. So we have
Mhm.
we have a lot of classes on Zoom. We have free monthly classes to the world every month on Zoom. We have our classes, which of course you're going to be
I'm
teaching
so
soon
excited.
here at our space. But it was really important. We went through a big branding change with our colors and our look and our feel and our language to, this is an all-inclusive program seated
Mhm.
in wellness, almost
Mhm.
wellness before beauty, because
Mhm.
wellness is beauty,
Absolutely.
And so I would say, I don't know if just as many men in the hospital want this as women, but pretty much. I mean,
Mhm.
and it was funny how it all happened early on. we were just, walking, going up with the beauty cart to women. Anyway, I got a call from one of our staff, and she was leaving the hospital, and she's like, can you call me? I have something to talk to you about. And of course my heart is like, oh no, did a Q-tip go in someone's eye? Or like, I go to the worst place. And I go, Shannon, what's up? And she goes, well, there was this crazy thing that happened today in the hospital. I'm like, oh shit, what? She goes, this man stood up and started going, hello, hello, hello. I have a face. I have hands. Because he was like, what about me? Aww. And I'm like, well, there we go. That was the start of us understanding, what are we doing here? Right. We have to include everyone.
I love it.
And so, yeah, I mean, there's actually, even for men that are a little more shy, we have the gentleman's facial on our menu. And then we address like ingrown hairs and all that stuff. Yes. So it's great. It's great. Wonderful. I mean, and the caregiver, if you're in the room, and I can't tell you how many wives of husbands I've done and vice versa, because what happens in that space a lot is the caregiver, there's like all of this really intense energy with your caregiver. The patient feels an enormous amount of guilt. Like, they've stopped their life for me. And like, can you give them a hand massage? Aww. Can you help my wife?
Right.
So that it brings the patient so much joy to see the person that is caring for them get a little love.
Absolutely.
So we work on a lot of caregivers, and it also is a beautiful way for the caregiver to go, well, I'm going to, or this happens often. They'll say, Renata, I've tried a million times to get my friend or my mom to like wear some makeup. And she's just like, no. And I say, oh, well, you go get a cup of coffee. And when you come back, she'll have her makeup on.
Aww.
Because it kind of is this, like, you need a stranger almost to be like, come on, let's do it.
Absolutely.
So we've learned all those lessons. Like, someone who's really close to you to do this kind of work sometimes isn't the key. It's the, I'm coming in, you go get a cup of coffee and lunch because you probably haven't had any time for yourself today. And I got your mom. Aww. And we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
And it's really special.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we did talk a little bit about clean beauty, and I've actually got to see your beautiful storeroom that has all your supplies and everything like that. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the products you use, or like, your idea of clean beauty, and then maybe talk a little bit more about your virtual, or like what, your boxes that you put together. Yep. And I mean, I think that it's so fun to see and impressive. It's almost like walking into a candy store or something.
Yeah, I feel like that every day. So a large and very important part of how we get all of our products that then we keep at our HQ at my office. We have this gorgeous beauty closet. A lot of companies like Inner Sense Beauty donate to Lipstick Angels. We categorize and count every single bottle, and then we send them to all of our programs all over the country. But here's our main, place where we store them so we can see what we need. And, and also it's thought out for the year, everything is thought out so carefully. We never take more than we need. And we every single thing is thought about, like, what's going on that cart, like what the La Prunier oil, but does that go good with the blah blah moisturizer? Like, everything has to have synergy and flow, and we have to get enough that it lasts a while, because then we have to train when a new product comes in. Emails go out. This is how you use it. This is what it is. This is the, like 30 people have to then go, okay, I'm, train my people on this. So there's a lot of back and forth. That being said, without the generosity of companies like Inner Sense Beauty of donating products, I don't think we could do this. I mean, it would just be really, really expensive, so to speak. We all know how much one bottle of something is.
Yes.
But the other side of it, which is so amazing, which I kind of found out very early on, was a lot of companies that make clean beauty, meaning toxin-free, no carcinogens, made them because something happened in their life. A lot of people are cancer survivors or had someone in their life with illness and they couldn't find the right shampoo or the right lipstick. And little by little, these small, amazing brands became bigger and bigger to where we are today. And clean beauty is what's expected.
Right.
But it wasn't like that a decade ago. It was like I had to find them. So what's so lovely about Lipstick Angels is the other side of it, all of our donors that, oh my God, they want to contribute. They're like, I want to be part of this. Like if my product is being used in the hospital, it's an honor.
Absolutely.
So they feel, and everyone can give what they can give and some people can give more, but we've been very blessed to have these very long-standing relationships with beauty brands that want to be part of this and feel that their past and what they've contributed is now used for our mission.
Yes. Well, I know I feel that way as a brand founder for sure. Your organization is so near and dear to my heart. Well, you've definitely bridged beauty, wellness, and service in such a profound way, Renata. I mean, it really has inspired me. What lessons have you learned that you think maybe the beauty industry at large still needs to hear? Is there?
Yeah, I think, and I've always thought this, and I still haven't really seen it yet too much. There's unfortunately a lot of sick people. And I know like when our patients, we refer them to like Credo because they can go in there and they feel safe. Like I'm going through chemotherapy. Do you have anything for my skin? And they feel like they're in a safe place. I feel like, well, I know, to give you an example, when I first started this, most of the infusion centers, and I think we talked about this, Joanne, when you were here, and you were like, oh my God, most of the infusion centers were in like the basements of hospitals.
Right.
And because not until recently has there been a very kind of open dialogue. I have cancer. You've seen it on Sex and the City when she got cancer. And we see people now just rocking their bald head saying,
of course,
I have cancer. I don't need if you can have a wig if you want, but there's now the infusion centers are being built in cancer centers on the top where there's an atrium and there's acupuncture and there's wellness. And there's not this shame around it. But like when my mom was growing up, if you were a woman in cancer, you better believe you told nobody because you were scared you were going to lose your job and that people were going to pity you. And there was a shame around it. And that is really gone now. Thank goodness. And I think that I would like the industry to be more open and for brands to be more open. Like this is good for cancer patients. This is good for people who have immunity problems. And because right now, while I think there's been a lot of work done in being transparent about that, but there's still a lot of shame.
Yeah. No, the shame factor we could all let go of on one level or another for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Well, obviously you're doing amazing things today. And, as we move into the future, where do you see Lipstick Angels, growing, or what do you see for the future for Lipstick Angels? And then how can other people support specifically or get involved?
So, I think the rhythm of Lipstick Angels is, I mean, my dream would to be in every hospital on the whole planet and for us to help like every single person, but that's never going to happen. I don't think so.
Well, never say never, Renata. I don't know. The right person could be listening to this right now. Right? So but let's get those angels together.
Let's get those angels. Yeah. Angels start working. I say that because it's been an interesting, like I've worked with, like, for instance, I had a meeting with the president of Stanford, right? Like now this man answers my emails. It's like not everyone even answers your emails, right? These days.
Of course.
I had this amazing meeting with him and you can see like the reason why we have such a robust program there in 7 hospitals is because it stinks from the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
That old word,
Right.
that's really true. I guess my wish, more than just saying like how big we can get, my wish is that more leadership and more people that are the decision makers in healthcare could understand that supportive programs like Lipstick Angels, and there's other ones too that are amazing that we work beside, the art therapy and like everything, that it's part of the medicine. Like getting through what you think here is part of the medicine. And if you're going in and you're cared for and you're nurtured and you have a positive attitude and you know that you're being kind of cared for mind, body, and spirit, I think we don't think, we know that the outcome for getting on the other side of this are much greater.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure there's statistics out there, right?
They're
Yes.
on our website. And so my wish is that we move as a culture, that there's this philosophy of caring for the heart and caring for more than just the medicine. And I have the deepest respect for the medicine. We work with the medicine.
Absolutely.
But so that's really when I hope and pray for something, it's really that.
That's really beautiful, Renata. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And thank you so much for being here today. I really, really appreciate it. I could go on and on and on.
Thank
I
you,
don't think I
Joanne.
got to even half of my questions that I wanted to
Well,
ask
I'm
you.
just so excited about our work together. And just for anyone, do you mind if I talk a little bit about you and us?
Of course. Yeah.
It's been such a incredible journey with Innocence Beauty, because there's this thing about, cancer patients losing their hair, right? Obviously. And it's like shampoo and conditioner. You don't really want to like talk too much about it, because a lot of people are like, well, I don't have any hair. I don't need shampoo. And we understood how important it was to educate, because education is at the pillar of what we do. Education about safe products, about clean beauty, about how to take self-care. And there was this missing piece of our spa menu and in our education about the scalp. Now we have the InnerSense scalp experience on our spa menu. And we thought, let's just test it out. Let's see how people react. Maybe they don't want us touching their scalp. Oh my God, the opposite. It's like one of our most asked for treatments. And I don't only think it's because it feels good, because obviously the scalp massage feels good. I think it's like touching a part of their being that is so important, like the head, right? Like maybe you can speak to it more eloquently.
I mean, I think that there's definitely a lot of nerve endings in the head and the scalp, and just, it's such a vital part of what's happening. I mean, if you think about it, like we're in our head all the time. I mean, I don't know about you, but it can be a challenge to get into our body and into our heart, right? So it feels like when that part is touched or massaged or just even held, it can be such a powerful moment for sure.
It has been. And it's like acknowledging on top of that, the hair loss and the trauma. And so it's been a huge game changer. It's like, I don't like it. It's just, every one of our employees is like, I need more InnerSense oil. We've gone through another model. It's the number one asked for thing. So that's been really huge. And your support, on helping, and then of course participating in our hospital program at UCSF with us is the next incredible thing that we'll have to do on part 2.
Absolutely. There's definitely going to be a part 2, Renata. This has been so much fun to have you. Thank you so much for everything that you do in the world. And thank you for taking the time out to come and talk with me today and inspire
Joanne.
Our listeners, and just keep up the good work. I'm here cheering you on and supporting you and supporting all your angels. And I look forward to more time together. So
thank you, Joanne.
So much. Enjoy.
And if anyone wants to get involved.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yep. We didn't get to that part.
On our website, there's a few really good buttons. One is the donate button.
Yes, that's the best button of all. Push that button, you
Push the
guys,
button.
for sure.
Anything helps. Anything helps. A monthly gift helps us really plan for our future.
Mm-hmm.
But any gift helps and is appreciated. And also our volunteer button. If you are an esthetician or a makeup artist, you could, if you live in any of the places, New York, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and you want to apply to be a volunteer, or if you don't live there, if you want to apply to be a virtual volunteer, all of that is on our website, as well as a bunch of other information. We would love to hear from you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yep. Go donate for sure. Thanks,
Thank you,
Renata.
Joanne. This has been
my
so
gosh,
much fun.
Thank you. I
Mwah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode, dear friends. I would be thrilled to hear which part resonated with you the most. Your reflections on today's topic and how it sparked action in your life mean a lot to me. Feel free to share your thoughts at podcasts@innersensebeauty.com or leave a review. I look forward to you coming back next week to explore another exciting topic together. If you'd like to dive deeper, be sure to check out the show notes for some valuable links. Until we meet again, take good care of yourself. Know that you are surrounded by love and always trust your inner sense. Wishing you all the best, friends.